Vivek Wadhwa is a Duke University professor and a Bloomberg contributor. An immigrant to the U.S., she also founded two companies that created more than 1,000 American jobs. Vivek, welcome back to Bloomberg West. And you've got an exclusive for us, some great information on the topic we were all set to discuss. Take it away. What can you tell us?
As you know, I've been pretty critical about President Obama and the administration in not handling the situation very well. Anish Chopra just called me up literally 5 minutes ago to say that, hey, Vivek, we're making an announcement tomorrow I'm authorized to tell you about, that the CIS will be putting together a team of entrepreneurs to advise it on how to fix the problem of skilled immigrants. This is pretty interesting because it means that, because there are cases every day that keep coming up in Silicon Valley of great entrepreneurs having to leave the country because they can't get visas. So I said, will you address these issues? He said, yes, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to do everything within our power to keep the job creators in America. That often it's not Congress that's the problem, it's the bureaucracy, it's the adjudicators, and it's the people in the immigration department who don't know how to interpret things favorably. He says those are things we can fix and we will fix. So the devil is in the details. Let's see if they do deliver on this or not.
Well, why don't you clarify a little bit, because we know that a lot of tech heavyweights, Eric Schmidt did so on Bloomberg television quite recently, addressed this issue. Now if they're bringing entrepreneurs together to advise Washington, how is that different from what they've done in the past? Have they not listened to those entrepreneurs?
Well, for example, if I'm on an H-1B visa, a temporary visa, I want to start a company, I can work for that company, but I can't lead it. It's a really bizarre situation, the way it works, the way the regulations are interpreted. What the head of the immigration department, Alexander Mayorkas, and Chief Technology Officer Anish Chopra said was that they said this a few months ago, that they're going to be fixing the way the regulations are interpreted to favor the job creators, to favor people who start companies. But nothing happened. I keep hearing of case after case after case of great entrepreneurs being kicked out of the country and having to go to other countries, Canada, Chile, India, China, to start their companies. Well, what Anish just told me was that they're going to try to get a team of select entrepreneurs together, perhaps from Silicon Valley, who can now work directly with the immigration department in dealing with these issues. Again, I've heard the stories from them before.
Vivek, I'm jumping in. Sorry, it's Cory. There's this Washington double speak that I think is really interesting. This wonderful sounding word, comprehensive immigration reform. But what it seems to be really doing is pitting two groups against each other to be comprehensive. Can you talk to that?
Cory, that's very insightful, because this is what I've been very critical about the Obama administration on. The president keeps coming to Silicon Valley and saying nice things to Silicon Valley executives about how much he cares. The chief technology officer is here every few months also. Yet when it comes down to it, they go back to Washington and say we need comprehensive immigration reform. What that means is that unless we fix the problems of the undocumented, illegal immigrants, they won't fix the problems of the skilled and legal immigrants. Now, there's no way that we're going to be able to solve the problems of the undocumented workers in the next couple of years until we have a new set of elections. But that means that we're going to lose tens of thousands of highly skilled workers who are forced to leave because the system is totally clogged. You know, the sad thing is that the undocumented have no choice. The documented, the legal, the doctors, the scientists, the lawyers, the engineers, and so on, they do have a choice. They can go anywhere, and they're wanted. We're sending these great people away just at a time when we need them to be starting companies here, to be making us more competitive, to helping us fix our really sick economy. This is really bad policy, and you hit the nail on the head that by the code word comprehensive that the Democrats keep using is a code name for we're going to hold one group hostage to the other until you fix both problems. It ain't going to happen.
Well, yeah, it does seem like the Hispanic politicians who want to tie this to green card reform for undocumented is one issue. But, John Doerr once said to me, why don't we just take a green card and staple it to every single college degree given out in this country?
That would make a lot of sense. And because I'm very sympathetic towards the the Hispanics and so on, very sympathetic. But the Tea Party would probably take over Washington D.C. just like you've got this anti-investment banking movement. If we try to give amnesty to these people, it's not going to happen. But both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, both agree that we need the skilled immigrants over here. The Republicans, in fact, I think are even more supportive of skilled immigration than the Democrats are, because they've been trying to get bills passed in the past. They've passed in the past to fix this problem. But everyone is playing games with everyone else. That's a sad thing. In the meantime, America is losing. Our country is losing because our politicians are playing games.
Vivek, if what you're telling us is that a team of entrepreneurs that we're going to get an announcement is going to be advising Washington on how to tackle this issue, who would be your dream team of advisors to Washington?
Well, we just mentioned John Doerr. John would be great. Brad Feld would be great. David McClure would be great. You know, there are a lot of great people like that. Maybe we try to get Vinod Khosla added to it. People who've done it before, who understand what Silicon Valley needs. Eric Schmidt, he might have some extra time on his hands right now since he's not operationally active in Google. Maybe we get him on it. Let's get some of these great people advising the government and fixing the problems. If there was ever a time to do it, it's now. This country is in real trouble. We need to get the world's best and brightest on our side, helping us fix this economy now.
And if they are going to tackle this issue, what's the first thing they have to do, and how quickly do they have to work on this?
You know, for example, one entrepreneur that I know, Amit Aironi, was just told last week to leave the U.S. within 24 hours. Amit hires a dozen American workers. The guy has just raised $2 million worth of venture capital. And I hear these stories every week that you have Stanford graduates, MIT graduates being kicked out of the country rather than being allowed to start companies. This is urgent. I mean, we don't want Amit and these great minds going and starting their companies in other countries. We want them starting it here. That's the number one thing we need to fix, is letting entrepreneurs who want to start companies that create jobs stay in America. We need a startup visa, or we need to, you know, as the immigration department seems to be saying, that they can give us a startup visa by simply tweaking the existing regulations without having to go to Congress. If they can do it, let's do it. Let's get Alejandro Mayorkas to put his policies where his mouth is and make this happen. We can't wait.
Vivek, this is often portrayed as an India worker versus American worker, or maybe sometimes Chinese. I wonder what kinds of startups are going to what places? What startups are going to Eastern Europe versus the kinds of companies going to China with people who've been educated here in America?
Right. Cory, you just have to go to Beijing or Shanghai. I don't know if you've been there recently or not. Beijing or New Delhi or Bangalore, and just go to the internet cafes over there. Just like you go to Pete's or Starbucks over here, go there. They're buzzing with activity. They're optimistic. The kids on the campuses are really optimistic. They're talking about changing the world, just like the students here in Silicon Valley do. You know, in the past, all of these brilliant students would want to come over here to America to start their companies. The graduates of our universities want to start them here. Now they're going back in record numbers. In fact, you know, you talk about Indians and Chinese. If you're an Indian or Chinese student, a new report just out by the National Foundation for American Policy says it'll take the Indians 70 years to get permanent residence. So one of my students has to wait 70 years to become an American. It doesn't make sense. The Chinese have to wait 24 years. What student in their right mind would want to spend the rest of their lives stuck in limbo, hoping that they can eventually get a green card? No one's going to stay. And they're going and boosting entrepreneurship in their home countries, and we're losing out. Every job that's created in India and China not only is a loss for American jobs, it also fuels their competitiveness, because those companies, they're going to be forming Googles and Microsofts and Intels over there, which are going to be competing with ours. So it's lose-lose. I don't know who wins over here. The jobs certainly aren't being created here. So I don't know why we have such stupid immigration policies.
So with those policies in mind, with the politicians always complaining about taxes and the burden of taxes, why does anyone start a company, or what does this country have to offer?
Cory, this country has a lot to offer. It's the most innovative land on this planet. Our laws are, even though our politicians are misguided, our laws are great. It's a free country. You can challenge authority. You can innovate. You can think outside the box. The networks, in Silicon Valley in particular, the networks are just amazing, that everyone wants to help you. You can go to the same Starbucks I talked about and start talking to other entrepreneurs, exchanging ideas, solicit team members. This is the best place in the world to build a company. But like I said, because so many people are going back from here to China and to India, those countries are improving. And one day, give it 5 or 10 years, they may rival us in what we are. Today, we're still the leader. We're still the greatest place to be. Let's try to keep everyone here so that we don't have competition. That's the important message over here.
All right, Vivek, thank you as always for joining us and for sharing that exclusive information on an announcement that could be coming tomorrow. Vivek Wadhwa of Duke University and a Bloomberg contributor.